Now we're going to talk about the side panel on the left side of your home screen with Eric. We're going to go down and I'm going to give you a brief description of what each of these mean. We're going to start off at the top. Employer Report Summary, which is under Employer Reporting. This is where your reports for payroll or enrollment, everything is housed under here. They come through typically through the files from your software vendor or from you manually reporting in Eric using the copy forward feature if you don't upload a file. So within your employer report summary, you have headers. We're going to start with a demographic header. Demographic means simply an address or name change for your employee. But header, you'll see this mentioned a few times down below. For example, enrollment header, payroll header. The header is basically the retirement system, for example, PERS, that you're reporting under. So within the system header, you have details, individual details that describe what change has been made. Again, demographic is an address change or a name change for one of your employees. So you might have a detail like an address change for John Smith, and John Smith is a sheriff, so he's going to be under a header of the sheriff system, SRS. If he was PERS, his header would be the PERS header. The detail again is individual information within a header. You can have many details under one header. So if you had, say, for example, 5 people that you were changing an address for, and they were all PERS, you'd have one PERS header, and under that one PERS header, you'd have 5 demographic details to define each person. The enrollment header, again, is the system that you're enrolling under. Could be PERS, sheriffs, SRS. If it's police, it's going to be MPORS, judges, JRS. So, that's how that works. Within that header, you'll have an individual detail. Again, if you have 10 people that you're enrolling and they're all PERS people, you'll have probably one PERS header with all of the PERS people under that one header. Payroll header, again, the system that you're reporting under. You have to keep all the systems separately. So if you're reporting payroll for PERS and sheriffs, you would have 2 separate headers for those people. And again, the details that match under that header for each person. You can have several payroll details for one person. For example, they might have regular pay, that would be a payroll detail, and they might have overtime pay, and that would be another detail. Now, the upload feature is typically most of our employers do this, they upload a file, but you might be a smaller agency and you don't have a file that you upload. You just might manually or copy forward. But this is where you go to upload a file if you have a software vendor that provides a program in which you can maintain your payroll and other information for your employees. Process files is where you can check the status of the file that you uploaded. And process records is the detailed lines of records within the files that you have uploaded. Let me just scoot down here a little bit. Now we have the 457 SDA file. This is where you would see the 457 salary deferral agreement file you upload for an employee who participates in the Supplemental Deferred Compensation 457B plan. This only applies to the 457 contracted employers. So you may not contract with the state-sponsored plan, so you wouldn't probably see anybody under here. The 457 change lookup is where you check each time before reporting in ERIC to see if any of your employees have updated their deferrals. Again, this only applies to 457 contracted employers. The covered payroll reporting by fiscal year is where you filter and view a payroll for a specific fiscal year. The covered payroll reporting by pay date is where you filter and view a payroll for a specific pay date for auditing purposes. Now we're going to jump down to financial information. Scroll down here on the side panel. You'll see under here invoice receivable. This is where you view any invoices you have created from your summary report. And your credit memo is where you view any credit due to you through an adjustment. And then there's service credit purchase. This is where you view your employee service purchases that have been contracted with Impera. And adjustment summary. This is where you create and view adjustments to correct reporting errors for your employees. And then we have payment. This is where you create and view a payment from your payroll or adjustments. So if you're going to go and, after you create your invoice, which we'll go over in another module, but this is where you would go to pay that. And now we're going under organization information. Messages, this is alerts and messages where we send something to you that might be important that you need to know. Insurance, if for some reason you have one of your employees is continuing on with their insurance, this is where you'll go set that up or make changes. Organization is where you maintain information regarding your agency or organization. Limitation maintenance is where you view your PERS optional members under 960 hours and also working retiree limits. Contribution rate, this is where to locate employer and member contribution rates. And person, this is where you would go look and see, for example, a particular employee's information. And then we have the security audit feature. This is the location of anyone who has security access granted to review information within ERIC. And finally, the new hire eligibility feature at the very bottom, very helpful. This is where you can screen a new hire to see if they have a current account with Impera or if they are retired. This really does assist with the enrollment process.